Hello, everybody. Sunday Adelaja here. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another program, another teaching we're doing today on Black Africans. Now, the series that we've been going over a week now is called "Are Black African People Cursed?" Are Black African People cursed? That's the question. Are Africans cursed? Are Black people cursed? So I would like you to go ahead and share this message with your friends and family members. Share, share, share. Go share the message. Go call on your friends and family members, and let them, discover for themselves things that is not in our educational system, things that maybe some people in the world might not want us to discover. And the topic of today is I'm continuing what I started yesterday, Ethiopia as the first civilization. And today I'm going to talk about that civilization and another aspect of the civilization. So connection of the Yorubas with the first civilization. So what is the connection between the Yorubas? Yorubas are people group of people that are living mainly in Nigeria, southwest Nigeria, but we also have Yorubas in other countries of the world actually. But we have the largest number in West Africa, where there are about 40 million people, or maybe close to 40 million people. Then we have them in Benin Republic. Then we have them in Togo. Then we have them in Ghana, but there is a tribe, they call them a different name. They have a whole tribe in Ghana, but they are acknowledged that they come from Yoruba group of people. And then you have them in Togo, you have them in Ivory Coast to some extent. You also have them largely in the diaspora of Western Hemisphere in places like Brazil. You have a lot of Yorubas there. You have a lot of them in Cuba. You have them in Trinidad and Tobago. You have them, all over those countries. In Jamaica, just all over. You have them in America as well. So, but the main population of the Yorubas are in West Africa, in Nigeria in particular. So what is the connection between the first civilization that I said started in Nubia or in Kush, the land of Kush, or Ethiopia, some people call it Ethiopia, and Yoruba, because look at where Nubia is. Nubia used to be in Sudan, the present day Sudan. So look where Sudan is and go look that and trace that back to, see the distance between Sudan and Nigeria. I mean, it's like forever. It's like, how could they have migrated so far? Well, when you study the history of Yoruba, apart from the legends, I mean, there are some legends that cannot be affirmed by science and which are just legends and nothing more. That they came back, Oduduwa came from heaven and, put the earth there and started the whole of the human race in Ife, and, that's more like a legend. But if you look at history, the one that could be the part of Yoruba history that could be verified by science and scholarship is the fact that they migrated from somewhere from the east, maybe from Arabia, some people said, that they migrated then to Sudan. But I think almost all of them agree to the fact that yes, they came from Sudan. And that Sudan theory is much more accurate by history because it could be confirmed. And the way it could be confirmed is because history actually points to Ethiopia or Sudan as the cradle of civilization. So if everything developed there and, from their own legend over there, you could see that they could say, and it's even more than legend, there are archaeological facts to say that life started in Eastern Africa and that area of Ethiopia, Sudan, and that that's where you have the Garden of Eden. So if the Garden of Eden and the cradle and the origin of humanity and civilization started in that area, it is only understandable that everybody spread from there to the rest of the earth. And 2 days ago or so, I spoke about how the earth was divided because at the time of Peleg, as it's written in the Bible. So everybody was spreading all over the surface of the earth when the old earth was still one, monolith continent. And but with the Africa, it's easier to explain because the continent is not dividing Ethiopia or Sudan from Nigeria. So it's okay to understand that they migrated. Some migrated to the south, some migrated to I think they call them Bantu people groups. So that's a people group that is inhabiting most of Africa right now. But all of them can trace their history to Sudan and to that Nubia and to Kush or Ethiopia. So it is from that place that they all spread to all over Africa, and that story as well is confirmed by the Yoruba history and by the Yoruba scholars that that is one of the versions of the origin of the Yoruba race. But when it comes to the Yoruba race as well, have different kind of groups among them. But there is a particular group among the Yoruba race, which is the Ijebu people, Ijebu. So these Ijebu people are very certain and are very sure about about the fact that they come from Sudan. They don't even have two versions. They only have one version. And that version is the fact that they are coming from Nubia, from Ethiopia, from Sudan. And, so that makes it traceable to history. That makes it scientifically verifiable because, science has already confirmed the fact that, yes, most of humanity comes out of that particular area of the earth and they spread all over the place. But then if you look at a lot of practices in Yoruba culture, you will see the connection among them and the Sudanese people. For example, the religion of Yorubas is called Ifa. And in that Ifa, they have a divination system, a divinative system, very similar to what they used in the Old Testament of Israel. In Israel, it's called ephod, I think ephod. So that ephod, you go to consult the God through it. And they have something like that in Yoruba as well. So, but in Yoruba, it's called Ifa, ephod, Ifa, ephod, ephod, Ifa. In the Greek, in the Hebrew language, it's called ephod. In the Yoruba language, it's called Ifa, ephod, Ifa, ephod, Ifa. But they consult them the same way. You see, it's consultation of the God, and that is ephod in Hebrew language, Ifa in Yoruba language. And now, I'm not saying that Yorubas are Hebrews or Jews, but I'm just saying it's connected. But you will see more similarity and more connection as we go today. So you see that, but if you go to Sudan today, South Sudan today, they have the same ephod and the same Ifa, they call it something else, that is being consulted the same way, that the same technology, the same way the Ifa praise use Ifa to consult and to know destiny and the gods and things. That's exactly what is still being practiced in Sudan today. So that is another connection there. But besides all that, there is archaeological connection and archaeological proof that there is a big connection between the ancient civilization which started in Ethiopia or in Nubia and went to Egypt and then went to Asia and then went to Europe, that civilization didn't just go upward, that it went down as well. It didn't just go north, it went south as well. But another proof of this is the fact that there is a place in Ijebuland that is called, the Jebus have a name for it. I think Ibiriku or something like that they call it. Bilimiku or something like that. So I'm going to show you the video about that place after this. But they call it actually the shrine of the Queen of Sheba. The shrine of the Queen of Sheba. But the most important thing there is not the shrine itself, but the wall that is built around that shrine. Of the, the shrine is inside, but the wall is so magnificent that it is said, right? This is not by me. This is by archaeologists, English archaeologists, that wall, that it is, I think it is older than the. Do you know the image of the Stone Age those stones images in England? Those are some of the earliest proof of humanity, right? In England, those stones you see on the field in England, tourist center. So those stones, they are about the same age. Actually, this wall that is built in Yorubaland or in Ijebuland is actually older, a little bit older, or about the same time as the Stone Age. Those stone, what do you call in England? Those stones in England, that they are the same age. So life was already going on in Yorubaland and in Ijebuland, in Yorubaland, and so at the earliest period of time that could be recorded by archaeologists. But even what is even much more astounding, you go to the Google, go and look for Queen of Sheba in Yorubaland, Queen of Sheba Ijebu. You will see what I'm saying. It's all over the internet. But what is even more astonishing about this monument is that the amount of earthwork, the amount of earth, sound that was used to build that wall is more than the amount of sound that is used to build the biggest pyramid in Egypt. Is more and more complex than the process of building pyramid. And it was so big and tall. This wall is so tall, and so it was the biggest, strongest wall that has been built around that age. So the same people that built pyramid in Sudan, you remember that the place where the technology of pyramid was discovered is in Nubia, and it was from there they migrated to the north to Egypt and perfected the technology there in Egypt and built bigger pyramids. But before the pyramids of Egypt, there were already more pyramids, 200 pyramids built in Nubia, in Sudan, present-day Sudan, and they are still there up to today, and they are older than the ones that were built in Egypt. And so this connection is there, that they started the process here and then they took it to the north. But then from the archaeological discovery in Ijebu now, they are now saying, that those technology was also taken now to the south. And there is something like that also around Zimbabwe. So they spread not just to the north, they spread to other places. They spread to the west, they went to the south, and that is probably the technology they used to build the wall. Now, I cannot verify the story that woman that ruled, it was a woman that ruled that empire in Ijebuland, but that woman that ruled that time, they said, because the greatness is just comparable only to the Queen of Sheba. That's why they call it Queen of Sheba. I don't know if it is really the real Queen of Sheba or not, but the aura, the glory of our empire was as great as like that of Queen of Sheba. But so, and that also is another historical confirmation of the connection between the earliest civilization of Nubia and the Yoruba people. Because in Nubia, one of the things that is really very unique there is the matrimonial leadership. The women are given a position of rulership, and women often were their rulers. So the same thing that happened here, that a woman was the ruler of this empire that was built in Yorubaland. So, but don't just take my word for it. Let's go and see There's another group of people, I must say, though, apart from the Yorubas, that also Nupe, they call them Nupe in Europe, in Nigeria. The Nupe people also have the same connection to Sudan. I don't know if in their culture they have a story about that they are from Sudan or not, but I think so, because the same Ifa and ephod that was used in Israel and used in Sudan and with Yoruba people is also being used in Nupe among Nupe people. And Nupe people have also the most ancient discovery of archaeological proof of their, of them as an ancient people. They have the biggest proof of the use of civilization and metal in their development. And so, and that is what was earlier discovered in Sudan. And that other things that were earlier discovered in Sudan was the use of metal and the bronze and things like that. They were also later on discovered in Yoruba land, Ife, and Benin and other places like that, and Nupe, but Nupe first of all. But so let's go and see the connection of the Yorubas with the first civilization that has ever existed. The civilization that gave birth to Egypt, the civilization that gave birth to Chinese civilization, and this civilization that later on gave birth to European civilization. So for now, I want us to pay attention to a rather interesting fact. Many scholars are inclined to believe that the Ethiopians, which are the Nubians or the Kushites, Kushites, were residents of the glorified Atlantis. Because, when the Europeans started doing research and doing archaeological discovery, and they began to discover the cities and the roads and the boulevards that were built thousands of years before Christ in the deserts of Africa and the jungle of Africa, they were actually saying, no, this couldn't be Africans who built it. No, it's not possible that these things were built by Africans, because how can these people build all this? They had scholarship, they had science, they had industrialization, they had methodology, metallurgy, they had iron, they had metal. How can they, after all that civilization, go down in history to a dark period whereby now some of them don't even know how to read or how to write, even though they had writing before? So how can that happen? So the European archaeologists and historians could not believe this, and they were saying, no, maybe it is not the same people. Maybe there was a civilization that lived in these places or in Africa before black people came there, and it is that civilization that built all these things. It cannot be Africans who built it, until further researches were done and it was discovered that no, these were all built by Africans. But just like as it was with Europe, Europe also went through its dark ages. After Europe had conquered the world through through Roman Empire, Europe collapsed as well and went through dark ages before Renaissance came back and woke them up, and through the help of African civilization too. So for now, let's pay attention to the fact that the scholars are already claiming that the civilization they discovered in Africa could not belong to these Africans. Maybe it was from Atlantis. There is a theory that there was a civilization in the world before the creation of the earth, or before this modern earth, that belonged to what they call the Atlantis. And that civilization went under the river, under the waters, and so that civilization was even more advanced than our own. So there is, if you are interested in that and those kind of theory and history, you discover what they call Atlantis. So the Greek historian Diodorus of Sicily pointed directly to the western Ethiopia as the land inhabited by the Atlantis. So this is western Ethiopia in the sense that They are not talking about the country Ethiopia. There was no country like Ethiopia at that time as such. It was there, but it was part of the general Ethiopia, which was Nubia. So they are talking about the west part of it, which is the east part of Ethiopia, is where we have the East Africa now, the present Ethiopia and other countries. But this was talking about western part of Ethiopia, which is the center of the civilization at that time, Sudan. German scientist Eugene Goer, a leading researcher of the Atlantis issue, was inclined to believe that the Atlanteans were Ethiopians. That's the conclusion they came to, that because they were first of all saying this cannot be black people, but then with the further research they discovered that they are the same people. But instead of just admitting that no, these are just black people, these are Ethiopians who did this, they are now saying, okay, yes, they are the same Ethiopians, but they are the earlier civilization, the Atlantis. It means Ethiopians are the same as Atlanteans. In accordance with his words, the new century that followed the disappearance of Atlantis was marked by the world domination of the Ethiopian representatives of the black race, you say. So immediately after the disappearance of Atlantis, what they discovered was that the first civilization, apart from that Atlantis, that ruled the earth was the representative of black race, or the Ethiopian race, the Ethiopian civilization. So that is the first civilization. But you will now see from this same archaeological discovery that the civilization they are talking about, the Ethiopian civilization they are talking about, goes further than Ethiopia or Sudan. It goes further to other parts of Africa. It even gets to Yoruba land. And it is actually in Yoruba land they found the proof that the earlier civilization was in Africa, and Yoruba land in particular. It is Yoruba land that gave them the evidence, where they saw the evidence of what they call Atlantis. But really, it is not just Atlantis, it is the Atlantis, according to them, that is built by black people, or the civilization that black people built after the Atlantis disappeared. But let's keep on, reading my discovery about what these archaeologists are saying. So Professor, the archaeologist and ethnologist Leo Frobenius pointed to the existence of an ancient Atlantean culture, but he did not think that in reality there was an island in the Atlantic Ocean known as Atlantis. Okay, so from east, because a lot of people, even up to now, still believe that this Atlantis was somewhere in the ocean, that it perished in the ocean and it was in the Atlantic Ocean. But he believed that no, yes, they all agree that there was an earlier civilization, even predating the African civilization, which they call Atlantis, and that this Atlantis was not in the Atlantic Ocean, but it was on the African continent. Because of they were forced to do that. They were not planning to believe that just out of the thing here. No, it was the researches they were doing that forced them to believe, to come to these conclusions. You remember, these people are scientists. They base everything on fact. He pointed to its location on the west coast of Africa. Pay attention. You see the Yoruba connection now. So the place where they were able to find the proof of the Atlantis or the earliest civilization in Africa, in the world, was in Africa. And they found it in West Africa, west coast of Africa. The basis for it was that he dig out of the earth the ruins of palaces. When you talk about palaces, it's like it's a new phenomenon. It's supposed to be the phenomenon of the modern age. But palaces were being built thousands of years before Christ in Africa. Palaces and the most amazing sculptures in the land of Yoruba. It is in Yoruba land they discovered this. So, but the conclusion that he came to is that this is probably where the Atlantis was. And that it couldn't be these same Africans who built all these palaces and these sculptures. And that, maybe it is the Atlantis that lived there. the territory between the Niger River and the Atlantic Ocean, you see. This is between Oyo, cross Kwara, Kogi, Osun, and Benue State. The Niger, just at the border of Niger, the River Niger that divides the River Niger and River Benue. So this is before River Benue. This is just by the border of River Niger. He also was able to learn from the legends of the Yoruba tribe about an ancient royal king, royal city, and that is the Old Oyo. We call it Old Oyo in our place. Old Oyo. There was an Oyo. We have an Oyo right now, but that is regarded as the new Oyo. But in Yoruba land, they call it the Old Oyo. So the ancient royal city. So it's not the Atlantis that built it. It is the Yoruba people that built it, and they have a name for it. It used to be called Old Oyo City. And they think that, no, this is too advanced for black people to build. So it must have been the Atlanteans that built it. So, but they are doing the research, and he went to that old site of the Old Oyo, and they were there for years doing archaeological discovery, and they discovered cities and palaces. And his castle, so the Yoruba tribe about an ancient royal city and his castle of golden walls, which are drowned in the waters long ago. So they found those golden walls, and and the water, they're talking about the River Niger. That's where they found it. He argued that the Yoruba had a connection with the ancient civilization of Maya. So that is how they make it sense of it in their own mind. The topic of discovery of America by Africans will be described separately below. Yes, because this is all connected, because the civilization started in the African continent, went to Egypt, then went to Asia, China, and went to Europe, and went to America as well. But we will also discuss all that. The same connection between the Ethiopians and Atlantis is also noted by the Atlantologist Egerton Sykes, noting that before the destruction of the Atlantic continent, the civilization of West and Central Africa was a spectacular sight, because they discovered and they saw it after unearthing it in the sea. Captain Alexander Braggin cites at least one medieval map which refers to the South Atlantic Ocean as the Ethiopian Ocean, you see. So it is actually the black. And when you use the word Ethiopian, they are not talking about the country of Ethiopia. They are talking about the black, the Cushian. So actually it's used, the Atlantic Ocean in the olden days used to be called the Black Ocean, the Ethiopian Ocean. It is amazing how phenomenally developed was the civilization in ancient Africa. And this is not we Africans saying this. If it is we saying this, you could have said, oh, okay, we are rewriting history, right? Or if it is written by black people, or if it is black people who did the archaeological discovery, we could have said, oh yeah, it is just reversal of history. No, but these are written by white people, and not today. These are all been recorded in history. Only people neglected this, and they will not teach you this in school. Regardless of whether Atlantis really existed or not, it is important that, I think maybe it existed or it didn't exist. I know that it is but there is one thing that they all cannot deny, that this is all traced to black people. It is important that the ancient peoples of Africa had such aspects of culture that many scientists dared to identify them with the notion of the ideal Atlanteans. So it is the culture of the black race, it is the black civilization, it is the black people that built those cities, it is the black people that discovered those art and culture and sculptures. It is all these are the work of black people. That is one thing they cannot deny. Even if they call it Atlanteans or Atlantis, it is also still connected to the fact that they are black people. Those Atlantis then are black people. They are people who live on the African continent. So they are progenitors of the Africans that we know today. And the culture and the legends of these Africans confirm the same thing. So that is the connection you will see there between the Yoruba culture and the earlier civilization. And if you look at the story, there are a lot of legends and a lot of stories from the Yoruba culture that is talking about Yoruba land as Ife, or Oyo, being the cradle of civilization and the center of the earth and things like that. But not all of them will be verified scientifically, but some of them are verifiable scientifically. And that some of these are what we have talked about today. So please, I want you to all go ahead and share this message. Let's share the message, share. And besides that, I'm going to show you a video of that wall that is in Yoruba land in Ijebu, and of the Queen of Sheba. And yeah, you'll be able to see. Somebody actually went there recently. A Nigerian person went there to find out about it. If the Yorubas or the Ijebus know about it, they know about it. They have a name for it, and they actually see it like, something like a religious site or something like that. So anyway, but go share the message, and if you have not yet joined my mentorship program, please go to sundaydelajablog.com/mentorship. If you want to come through the History Makers training, you can also go to the same blog, sundaydelajablog.com/HMT, History Makers training. So it's the same, sundaydelajablog.com/mentorship, or for the mentorship. For HMT, History Makers training, is /HMT. And for you to, if you want to join our team to Nigeria, it is /Nigeria, sundaydelajablog.com/Nigeria. So if you want to read my books, you can read them for free on Kindle Unlimited, or you could buy them on Amazon. But besides that, if you want to buy in bulk, you could just write to my office, dssbooks@gmail.com. It's cheaper than on Amazon, especially if you are buying many books. So dssbooks@gmail.com. Well, that will be it for today. I would just like to tell you that we have this video here. They are speaking Yoruba language, or Ijebu language actually, but they have the English language subtitle, so you could follow the subtitle in English language. Some of them sometimes they speak English as well. Okay, so here we go. We'll continue this class tomorrow. Thank you.
lásán níbẹ̀.
ẹni bí géètì ìwọlé lásán ṣe é rí iwájú dé yẹn ìyẹn làwọn obìnrin dúró sí. obìnrin kì í wọlé.
obìnrin ò kí ń wọlé sí.
rárá o ajá kì í wọ̀ bí. Ibi òun làwọn ẹrú ẹ ti wẹ̀ fún.
wọ́n ti wẹ̀ fún.
nígbà tó kú.
ibi báyìí náà lọ sùn sí.
sàárẹ̀ ẹ̀ náà là ń lọ yìí. náà là ń tọ̀ níbẹ̀. sàárè ẹ̀
sàárè Bílíkísù.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
Bàbá ẹ mọ̀ pé wọ́n ń pè ní Queen of Sheba nígboro a mọ̀ bó ṣe jẹ́ òótọ́ sí wọ́n fẹ́ mọ̀ bóyá òótọ́ ni àbí irọ́ ni torí Queen of Sheba àwọn ìlú tó ti wá gangan ó jìnnà sí bíbá yìí nǹkan tó fẹ́ mọ̀ bóyá
Ethiopia ló ti wá.
Ethiopia bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
wọ́n ní ibi gbogbo nílé ọ̀wọ̀ tí ó ń gbá mi.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
ó jẹ́ ẹni tó sùn sí bí ó já lágbára èèyàn ó dẹ̀ jẹ́ kábíyèsí obìnrin ni o ṣùgbọ́n alágbára ni. ẹ máa gbọ́wọ́ erédò kan tán ni wọ́n wà káàkiri ayé erédò tí wọ́n fẹ́ sọdún ẹ ní pé tí ẹ̀dá kan bá wà ní tour of Nàìjíríà yìí bó mọ̀ ìgbà tó dé bí ó parọ́ tó mọ̀ ìgbà tó tún lọ àpà tó tún bọ̀ olú ẹ̀ parọ́ ìgbà tó tún lọ sí ọ̀dọ̀ Suleiman náà lọ́hùn kò sẹ́ni tó lè sọ ní Mọ́kà lọ́hùn.
ó ti wá bíbá yìí kó tó lọ sọ́dọ̀ Suleiman.
ibi ló ti lọ sọ́hùn.
Nàìjíríà ní alágbára láàrin wa nìyẹn.
kì í ṣe pé a ò ní ṣùgbọ́n wọn ò gbé lárugẹ bó ṣe yẹ kán gbé lárugẹ bó ṣe ń ṣe Mọ́kà tó ń gbé lárugẹ ló yẹ kán gbóhùn gbé lárugẹ ṣùgbọ́n irọ́ ni wọn ò ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀.
ibi báyìí làwọn èèyàn máa ti ń gbàdúrà ibi báyìí gangan ló máa ti ń gbàdúrà.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ó ní ààyè ìjókòó rẹ̀ tó bá di ijọ́ ìtùnú gbogbo ẹsẹ̀ máa pè síbí. ìjọ ìtùnú àìwẹ̀ gbogbo ẹsẹ̀ máa pè síbí wọ́n ń wá ṣàdúrà.
Mùsùlùmí ni Bílíkísù torí wọ́n dárúkọ ẹ̀ nínú Bíbélì dáadáa pé ìkan náà àwọn ìyàwó Sulaimon nílọ.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni.
ẹ mọ̀ bí ó bímọ kọ́kọ́ fún Sulaimon lọ.
ẹyọ kan ṣo.
ẹyọ kan péré.
ọkùnrin.
kí lórúkọ ẹ bàbá.
orúkọ ẹ náà ló sá fún mi.
nínú ìtàn bàbá ṣé ó pẹ́ tó lò ní ọ̀dọ̀ Suleiman lọ.
àmì lè fọ yọdún wáyé ló lò ṣé ẹ ń gbọ́ mi.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá.
ṣùgbọ́n kòkò sọ́hun o ó padà bọ̀ ó bá sùn síbi. ṣé mọ̀ pé tó bá jẹ́ pàwọ́ Yorùbá ni ibi tí ẹrù wa wà ní ibẹ̀ la máa sọ pé a máa dúró sí bó ti jẹ́ ní.
bàbá nǹkan tẹ́ ń sọ nísìnyí ni pé Bílíkísù ó ní agbára ju Sulaimon lọ.
sí Suleiman náà ní tẹ́lẹ̀ kó n pápá ní tiẹ̀ òun Sule apá mọ̀ pé gbàtọ́ dọ́dẹ òun mọ̀ pé
ẹ̀yìn náà lágbára. ọgbọ́n nínú nǹkan tá a kà nínú nǹkan tó ń fi hàn wá ní ibi tá a ti ń bọ̀ a rí pé Bílíkísù ó ní ọ̀nà kan bí ọ̀nà ògiri tó gùn báyìí tó gùn lọ sínú wọ́n pè ní bí àyẹ̀ gangan lọ́ pè lérè.
òun la ń pè lérè dò yẹn ọ̀nà náà nìyẹn.
bẹ́ẹ̀ni bàbá ṣé àwọn ẹrú ẹ̀ ló bá ṣe erédò ọ̀hún.
àwọn ohun pẹ̀lú ẹrú ẹ̀ ló ń ṣe. àkódájú àlọ́ àkódájú kò fẹsẹ̀ rinlẹ̀.
kò fẹsẹ̀ rinlẹ̀.
ìyá wa ò fẹsẹ̀ rinlẹ̀. tó bá ti lè débi tó ń lọ ó parí atẹ́gùn ló bá ń rìn.
kò ń ṣe pọ́n gbé kò ń ṣe pọ́n àwọn ẹrú ẹ̀ gbé.
bí lọ́ọ́ pé atẹ́gùn ló bá ń rìn.
nígbà tó lọ láti bí sí ọ̀dọ̀ Sulaimon pẹ̀lú atẹ́gùn tó gbé àwọn ẹrú ẹ̀ náà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni tẹ̀lé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bó máa ṣe kó wọn náà nìyẹn.
bàbá ṣé igi wọ́n gbé nígbà tí màmá wa kú ni.
igi ńlá yẹn ó bá ń bẹ̀ ni ètò dúró yìí náà ibẹ̀ náà ló wà. igi ńlá tó wà ní gbèrí ẹ̀ yìí òun náà gé tán fi wá ṣe irúfin rẹ̀ kò fẹ́ kàn ṣe báyìí tẹ́lẹ̀ láǹtakùn ló fi kọ́lé nǹkan ẹ̀ aláǹtakùn ló fi bò ó ló jẹ́ pé nǹkan kan kò sí gíngín nínú ọkàn tó máa bọ́ sílẹ̀ bí
bàbá mo ń wo tẹ̀síbí kan ní.
àwọn onímọ̀lẹ́ ló fi síbẹ̀.
wọ́n fi síbẹ̀ fún.
àdúrà náà ni wọ́n fi wá gbàdúrà ni.
bàbá a lè wo erédùn ọ̀hún àlù.
máa fi hàn.
Erédùn là ń lọ báyà.
Ó ti ní àwọn ọbẹ̀ màdé òfin sáà.
Anybody tó bá wá lè wọnú erédùn wọn.
Ṣé tí mo lọ bí
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni bàbá.
Dáadáa ẹ ò ṣe kankan bí ní èèyàn ni.
Bàbá iṣẹ́ wo gangan ni erédùn yìí ṣe fún.
Báwo lé kò sẹ́dá kan tó lè sọ.
Ó ṣe pé wọ́n fi ja ogun àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ọ̀nà tó fi ń tọkàn pa àbúkọ̀ jẹ́ ọ̀nà tó fi ń gbà wọlé.
Ó jẹ́ ọ̀nà tó ń rìn.
Kí làwọn ìjọba wa lè ṣe sí bíbá yìí tó máa fi di mẹ́kà gangan tá a fẹ́.
Ilé kò bá a ṣe.
Àmì bàbá.
Wọ́n mú nǹkan tó ń lè ṣe. Bàbá bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ìtọ́jú bẹ́ẹ̀ sì ni ìtọ́jú ẹ̀sìn nǹkan kérò wá tán mú gbogbo àyíká ẹ̀ tán tó ṣe tán ṣe bá tán ṣàlùyẹ. Ìgbà mélòó ni development máa dé. Àwọn sẹ̀lẹ́tì ní ká yànjá ẹ̀ fún wọn káwọn wá gbé lárugẹ.
Ìjọ Celestial.
Àwọn sẹ̀lẹ́tì ní kán yànjá ìbílẹ̀ wọn kán gbé lárugẹ. Àwọn Kwara Ìlọrin ọ̀yẹ́ náà ti ní kán yànjá báwọn.
Bàbá tóbìnrin bá wọnú ọ̀dọ̀ Bílíkísù yẹn ṣé nǹkan kan máa ṣẹlẹ̀ tó bìnrin ọ̀hún ni.
Tí ò mẹ́kù òyìnbó tó lóun fẹ́ wa dẹ́jà oríṣi ẹ̀ ajá ẹ̀ kú ìyàwó ẹ̀ kú.
Lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ méjì àbí ṣé lẹ́yìn ọjọ́ méjì àbí.
Níjọ́ kan tó wáyé náà ni kò kọjá òru ńbẹ yẹn sí àwà táwọn nǹkan ọ̀sìn ẹ̀ méjèèjì tán kú. Àwọn pè ní rédíò ni náà ló lọ gbogbo yẹn o ṣe ń ṣe kán náà lọ yẹn náà o ṣe lọ jáde títí lọ́ọ̀ nìyẹn.
Bàbá a lè wọnú ẹ̀.
Tó bá fẹ́ wọnú ẹ̀ o lè wọnú ẹ̀.
A máa jáde sọ́dọ̀ a máa jáde sí ìlú náà.
Ìyá o lè yá wọ bẹ́ẹ̀ kó jáde sọ́hùn láì tún ṣe.
Láì tún ṣe báyìí.
Ẹ bá fẹ́ tẹ̀síwájú díẹ̀ lè tẹ̀síwájú díẹ̀ gbọ́n pé kẹ́ ẹ jáde sọ́hùn ẹ tó bẹ́ẹ̀. Ẹ tí ì lè jáde sọ́hùn kẹ́ ẹ bá máa jáde sí títì lọ́hùn àbí tí wọ́n bá tún ṣe.
Ìlú wa Nàìjíríà yìí ó ti wà tipẹ́ kí nígbà ayé Bíbélì nígbà ayé Sùláìmọ́ ìlú wa yìí ti wà ní Ìjẹ̀bú ti gbilẹ̀.
Sórí Ìjẹ̀bú-Òde táwọn bàbá wa pìtàn ẹ̀ fún wa Abẹ́òkèrè yìí náà ti wà tẹ́lẹ̀. Táwọn bàbá pìtàn fún wa o.
kan wà ní òkèèrè àbí Ìjẹ̀bú tó ń ṣe fún Bílíkísù ọjọ́ kan wà tán bí àsọtọ̀ fún Bílíkísù náà.
ẹ̀mí ìtùnú làwa ń ṣe àjẹ́ ẹ̀mí ìtùnú afẹ́túnú àtúnú ìwé nílùú ìwò.
ṣé ní nǹkan tó máa mú wá tó máa fi wá.
rárá o kò sí kankan tó máa mú dáadé wájú owó tó máa fi gbàdúrà o.
gbàdúrà lásán.
kò sí o.
kò sí nǹkan kan ẹ̀gbọ́n ẹyọ kan báyìí níbi adé Bílíkísù àbí aṣọ àbí nǹkan.
mo sọ fún ẹ mo ní ìgbà yẹn ẹnì kankan ò gbọ́n.
gbogbo nǹkan tá a ti gbọ́ báyìí Bílíkísù ò ń ṣe òrìṣà.
ẹ ṣe o.
kò ń ṣe òrìṣà.
ẹ̀yà o.
èèyàn alágbára ni Bílíkísù.
bẹ́ẹ̀ ni o ẹ ṣe òrìṣà o. mo fẹ́ kọkàn bí.
níbí.
ó fẹ́ kọkàn bí. àlẹ́yọ̀ là ń pè ọkọ yẹn.
àlẹ́yọ̀.
ọkọ tó wá fẹ́ yẹn ẹni tá à ń wí yìí kẹ́ òun ló lórí ìjẹ́ tí wọ́n bá dẹ̀ máa ṣe nǹkan ṣé olórí kan sẹ́yìn àwa kalẹ̀ sẹ́yìn ìjọ tó dẹ̀ wá aṣọ tó mú ìyá wa sọ pé tó nǹkan tó ní kó má ṣe òun ló ti ṣe òun ló ṣe nǹkan tó ṣe tó kúrò lẹ́yìn yẹn gbà yẹn nìyẹn.
ọmọ òkèèrè
nìyẹn àlẹ́ yọ̀ yìí. olórí àgbo tá à ń ṣe yẹn ni àgbo tó ń ṣe yẹn ṣùgbọ́n ibi tóun náà wọlé sí bá di ilé mi ni àwa òjò tá ò bá rí tí wọ́n bá pè é pẹ̀lú ìlú mímọ́ tí wọ́n bá mú gbogbo nǹkan tó yẹ tí wọ́n bá mú lọ síbẹ̀ òjò apárábọ̀ wà lé.
ní àlẹ́yọ̀
bẹ́ẹ̀
alágbára náà lòun náà.
báyìí báyìí o dàpọ̀ ẹ ṣé o.
ẹ ṣé gan àwọn máa rí yín wá sà.